Hi everyone, it's my first time doing a seashell video for the public on YouTube, so I hope you guys like it. Just to give you a background, I have been collecting since I was 4 years old, over 15 years, and I have loved every minute of it. Most of my shells come from other collections or not as much of me collecting them from the beach myself. So a lot of them come from places where the people have already collected them and I purchased them. Just recently, I was convinced to do this video because I have acquired a new collection that is somewhat of a dream because there's just so many shells in there I never knew I could have. And so, without further ado, I will get started on the collection viewing. Every shell in this room I just acquired a couple weeks ago from an estate sale. Well, not really sale, but like an online Facebook marketplace find for a whole collection of shells. Even these cabinets pretty much came with it. Not that pink handled one. That's from my brother's workplace at Baskin Robbins. Anyway, let's get started. So here I have some really pretty shells. I've got some oysters of many kinds. Look at that one. Looks like a spider. And then there we go. Just a lot of pretty ones. And then moving on down to the next shelf. Got a giant sea urchin back there, a couple of Janonias, a really pretty abalone, and various other types of shells. And yes, all of these shells came from the collection that I bought a couple weeks ago. Check this one out. It's the inside of a chambered nautilus. So for those of you not too familiar with shells, or the beings that live inside of them, I'll just show you while I talk. So, for those of you not too familiar with them, there are 3 categories of mollusks. And then, mollusks are invertebrate, which means they have no bones, pretty much. And so, those 3 categories are cephalopods. We'll start there. Cephalopods are mollusks that have tentacles attached to the head, like a squid or octopus, but they're also, sorry for the bad quality, they're also stuff like the chambered nautilus, which is that shell you saw before that's cut in half, where it's still like a squid but inside a shell. And another example of a cephalopod would be this guy right here. It's another type of nautilus called a paper nautilus. And then you've got beautiful shells like these. This is called a gastropod. It's a type of mollusk that has one shell or one, I'm trying to think of what the word for it is. One valve, also known as a univalve. So the difference, and I mentioned that the paper nautilus and chambered nautilus are cephalopods. I know you're thinking, they have one shell. They have one shell, but they're not a gastropod. The difference is the anatomy of the animal that lives inside of it. So, because it's about the tentacles attached to the head for the cephalopod, that it's not the same for a gastropod. So there's the difference, the anatomy. Here's a bigger paper nautilus back there. And there's just so many species. Now this one's interesting. That one back there, it's called a carrier shell. Right here it has a bit of an explanation. This one specifically is the Japanese carrier shell. The carrier shell is nature's first shell collector. Its purpose is to fasten the other shell bits of rock, sand, coral, etc. on its back for camouflage. Enemies see what seems to be a pile of debris. And this one in particular is unique because there's the paludula. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. It's basically a carrier shell where it's very picky with what it carries. And it's smart enough to figure out, like, this is what I want. So, pretty much, it's more picky than attaching just any shell. And so there's some really pretty ones in here too. I think I have a bigger example. I also have some horseshoe crabs in here. So you're wondering what those look like. Did you know horseshoe crabs are more related to spiders and they're not actually crabs at all? And then there's always these, I don't even know what this is. Maybe it's some kind of coral or something. I just find it really spiky and pretty. When I acquired this collection, I didn't realize what kind of people were the ones that collected it. And I feel really bad for this creature here. I just don't know what to do with it. Maybe you guys could tell me. It's the body of a paper nautilus, you know, that thing back there. The cephalopod. So like this would be the squid that was living inside of it. Pretty much. Just to show you some stuff back there. Alright, now we're getting into more stuff. It's gonna be a little bit of a video because this is the biggest collection I've ever seen, and we haven't even gotten to the best of it yet. So I learned something recently about these guys here. This is known as the fluted giant clam, or it's also known as its Latin name, I think, is Tridacna squamosa, I think. Forgive me if I'm wrong with that. And each one of these, I think, is, except for this one here, and then this one's a different species. I forget what this one's called. But these over here, apparently, depending on the environment, they can have a different color or a different number of, or size or shape of spikes. Like, see, these are a little bit more like flat, but these here are a little bit taller. You see that? I don't know what those are. They just came with the collection. And so here are some full-shaper nautiluses back here. And these are some really cool, I don't really know what they are, but they look like giant clams to me. Oh yeah, these are called the fluted giant clam. I don't know if I mentioned it, probably did. So this already had this label here. Both these cabinets were purchased separately, but they were also originally for the collection. So here's some cones. I just recently learned that cones are actually venomous. So if you ever see one on the beach, I would definitely recommend being careful, because they are extremely dangerous, or can be. If you see one that's alive with an animal in it, don't touch it, and just be very careful. I'm not too familiar with a lot of these. Yes, they're labeled, but I don't really know a whole lot. Yes, I've been collecting for over 15 years, but I'm just not an expert. So that's what this one looks like. There's just so many cool types, see? And then you've got the cowries. There's like several different ways to spell cowrie. I don't even know which one's right. Like there's C-O-W-R-I-E or C-O-W-R-Y. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. English is stupid. I'm kidding. It's just tough to understand sometimes when there's so many words for the same thing. And then one of the most famous types of cowries, that one's kind of sad. I'll talk about that one. So in this specific collection that I got, the collectors were kind of not very good people in my opinion, because this is what it says. This is called the tiger cowrie. It's one of the most famous cowries. These were seen mating, and which means they were seen mating, and now they're here, the shells. So they literally killed the creature in order to get the shells. So I think that's really, really not cool. But because I personally wouldn't do that, but I guess people who are obsessed, which I am obsessed with shells, but I wouldn't go that far. And then so these are the cowries. And then over here I have some, like, I think some of them are called olive shells, like that one, some kind of olive shell. And then these I didn't organize too well. I'm not an expert, so I just organized them how I thought they looked good together. There's some really interesting one like this, like these. There's so many beautiful shells out there. It's unbelievable. Trust me, we haven't gotten to the beginning of the collection yet. Some bonnets, some paper, or I think they're actually called fig shells. Yeah, some bonnets here. Harp, I think this one's called a harp shell. In this collection, there's a lot of rare ones too. And then back here we've got some spider conches. this one's really cool. It's got like a little slit. I think it's something like that. And then so many other wonderful shells in here. Some fighting conchs, like a lot of fighting conchs. And then so many other unique ones. I mean, look at those. I'm gonna go slow because the quality is not great for some reason. I hope you guys can see that okay. And then there's this. Let me get a little bit closer. There we are. It's another one. Literally, I'm just going to go down all the drawers so you can see all of the beautiful stuff. I'm not even opening it all the way. These are interesting here. I don't know what... I don't even know. They look like they're Merixes, but I could be wrong. And then you've got shells like this. The one we saw before. Ah, the quality is so bad, I'm sorry. I wonder if I need to clean my camera. And then I forget what those are called, but I could look at them. These are all limpets. They're very fascinating. I mean, this is one of the favorites I have that I got from the collection. In case you guys were wondering, I paid $500 for the shells themselves and the books and stuff that came with it. And about $700. Well, $700. My mom actually paid for the shelving, which we weren't planning on getting. But then we realized how hard it is to... Look, this one's shaped like a heart. How hard it is to keep the collection without something to hold it in. You'll notice if you get into shell collecting, if you're not already, there are a lot of colorful shells out there. Trust me, this video is going to be a little bit longer, so... because of all the details that I'm putting into it, because there's just so many cool shells out there. I don't remember what that one's called. Can't remember it. You know what? I can't remember. Alrighty. I had some research to do apparently, don't I? And then the colorful scallop drawer. I kind of organized that because I don't know all the scallop names, but I thought organizing by color would be cool and that pretty. And then what was in this one again? Oh yeah, angel wings and scallops. So now we're moving on to this one. Alright, yeah, it's kind of crowded in here. It's my closet, actually. So I didn't really have another spot. Let's move this out of here. My lamp is always in the way whenever I'm trying to show people. Okay, so kind of dark. So yeah, here are the sand dollars. There's a shark jaw over here. I don't even know what kind of sea dragon it is, but I've always longed to see one, but now I have one apparently. It's what caught my eye the most in the collection. And then I've got various seahorses. For some reason, I think there's a whelk, part of a whelk egg case, that top tan thing. And then this is one of my favorites. Sand dollar doves. I love those things. And I don't know why, but these were just loose in one of the boxes that I was unpacking. Just pearls. They're actually real, I think. And then, yeah. I feel bad for these guys, though. They must have been taken while they were alive, because you see these little furry things? That just means that, you know, they were not, they were not dead whenever they were taken. Yeah, they were still alive. But then there's starfish, sea fan, brittle star, I think. Little corals. I keep the broken pieces because I'm a hoarder. And starfish back there. I don't know what they called this, but that's really cool. And then more horseshoe crabs, babies. I think this is called a sun. I don't know, sun something. I think sun star. I don't know. I'm not the expert, trust me. I just love them. These are all sand dollars that were dead, or whenever, probably were dead when they were found. Because I don't have those. This one I had a lot of fun decorating. As you can see, I placed all the coral along the edge. There's some religious sand dollar stuff. I thought this was adorable. With the doves and stuff. Come on. But there's quite the variety that came in this collection. And then I got, oh, I forgot about this. There was a whole couple boxes of all of these little containers. Some of them are labeled, some of them are not. But I thought they would go well in like a collage like that. There's a few drawers of this. I still have some space in drawers too. Wait, hold on. There's a lot. I'm sure you want to see more close-ups though. And so, there's just so much to see. I don't even know everything that I picked out in here. Not picked out, I got the whole collection. Hey look, there's another one of those. So I have somebody who is going to appraise, who might help me appraise the collection. There's a sea biscuit and I don't really open that, but like some sandalwood. I don't know why, but there's like butterflies and moths in here. Some various other tackle box displays. Same in here, and then some more. You really can't see anything. I think that was it, and then I have extra space still. And then I have this clock. It's kind of funny because it's been in boxes for so many years the batteries were corroded, so I don't even want to touch it. Oh, how did I forget? There's this one shell. It's not the small one, but the big one. This is my favorite one that I've gotten from this collection because it's just so fascinating. So, basically what it is this shell that, the name Zinkus, I don't know how to say that. I'm not very good with Latin or scientific names. Anyway, this shell here was used, it's called the chank shell, or tongue shell, or it's also called, what is it called? I'll just read you what it says, I can't think of everything. So it says, this shell was used over 300 years ago in Tibet to call the people to prayer. It was blown once for the prayer call and twice for when prayers were finished. It also, sacred shell, that's what it's called. Images of the god Vishnu, I think. I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know. Always carry a chank shell in one hand. Blah, 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 blah. And then reading on after that. So, literally this was written by the collectors who bought it from a lady back in 1957. These are the collector names who this collection is from. This is what's fascinating. How would we be able to figure that out when we don't have the details ourselves? But it's over 300 years old, pretty much. More like 400 now, because that was back 1957, you know? So it was 300 years old in 1957, at the earliest. Okay, so that's fascinating, right? And so, that's like, part of the collection. Now we're gonna do some intermission so that I can show you the rock room. Alrighty, so here we are in the rock room. It's called the rock room for a reason. We built our house just recently, and they built it into the side of a hill pretty much. So part of the house is like built like this. This was originally not supposed to be a room, but the builder was kind enough to give me more collection space. So that was pretty cool. So I'll start over here. I've got this table where I'm planning to make it like a game area where people have to guess what shells are which ones. And then down here I kind of made a coral reef. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I have some lights hanging up too. Alrighty, so that's what this is. Some of you who know the shells may already know these ones. There it is again. So yeah, just simple ones that people may have heard of. Here in Texas we have calcite. And so I found this massive piece of calcite right in our yard. We live in the hill country area. And so here, I collect rocks too. So I've got some rainbow titanium, which is heat treated, so it's not actually a rainbow. It's not actually real. This one came from, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, Mason Creek, Illinois. It's a fossil hunting place. We've got trilobite, calcite, desert rose. Oh, that doesn't look too good. Looks like it's getting up. Interesting. Alrighty. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Okay, so then I have like amethyst geodes. I actually found this one. It's a part of an ammonite imprint. Found it on the coast, the Jurassic coast of England. And they have part of Lyme Regis. I bumped into something again. So, okay, that's interesting. Why is everything getting black? Okay, that's not good at all. What is going on? I will have to ask experts about why my stuff is turning black. Alrighty, so here I've got more sea urchins and, sea horses and sand dollar doves. Up here I've got some Triton trumpets, some other shells up there too. Oh, and then I've got some queen conchas, some whelks, and some muryxes. Some various other shells. There's another couple spider conchs. Now we're getting to the interesting part. Alrighty. So I am obsessed with giant clamshells. Here's another fluted one here. We'll take a look at this. This is only the beginning. This is called Tridacna gigas, the true giant clam. And yeah, I have some fake pearls in here. That's actually just selenite. There's another. These are both. These big ones are both Tridacna gigas. Tridacna gigas, small one too. And then, guess I'll start with the wow. Welcome to the giant Tridacna gigas area. I have a projector screen here too. So these are my big shells. Let me put my hand in one of the smaller ones. Make it lift out my phone high enough. There. More tape. Here's another one. And then my screen where I will project videos of my collection and stuff. Up here we've got a whole bunch of labeled like display boxes. They're just regular containers where I have displays. So yeah, that's cool. And below I have these displays here I haven't used yet. Various other things that I will probably use for displays, in displays. And then my poor painting just wilted like that. But yeah. So that's a lot of my collection. Guess I didn't show you up here yet. There's just a few bins there. Let me give you some close-ups to go on.